Hi, everyone. Welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Emily Poulin, and I have the honor of hosting today an LA-based photographer, an amazing person. Nikk Rich is with us, and we're going to be working on some animated GIFs in Photoshop. So, Nikk, welcome. We're super excited you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hey, everybody. I'm Nikk Rich, a commercial-based photographer out of LA. Most of my work has been seen in the Washington Post, Hollywood Reporter, work with brands like Shea Moisture, and most of my work is created or dedicated to creating space for Black and Brown people in the beauty and lifestyle space. Today, I'm really excited to show what else photos can do, just like pushing it beyond just a still. And we're going to make some really fun gifts today.
I'm so excited. So, if you're joining us on YouTube or Behance, we're super excited that you're here. Feel free to drop any comments or questions in the chat, and we will add those into the stream. But we're really excited that everyone's here with us.
Hmm.
Cool. So, you got Photoshop open.
Yeah, so just a quick review of my work.
Yes, perfect.
Yes, so this is my just a quick overview. A lot of my work is also based in joy and having fun and just celebrating life. So, if you're interested in looking into this work a bit further, my website is just like my name, Nikk Rich, Nikkrich, as well as my Instagram. And some of my conceptual art that I've made in the past can
Cool.
also be found here. So this is what we're really going to dive in today. And we're going to do a little animation and have a little fun with color. So yeah,
This is amazing. I'm so excited to see you, yeah, work these.
thank you. All right. Okay, so typically I will start with a theme or a color. Sometimes I have color moments where I'm just like, lately I've been feeling real light blue or I'm feeling real olive green. Um, And so today we're going to kind of explore, going to do a bit of an exploration of how I'm feeling. And I'm thinking maybe creating something around communication, a little bit of information or just history on these gifts. I started them out of a need to create after the passing of my mom. And so all I had at the time was the work that I had shot previously. And so I thought it would be a really great way to sort of get creative and exercise, just another way to push my work. Um, and so I gave myself this sort of challenge of what can I do? How do I push this? So I always start with a color. Let's see. How are we feeling today? Let's do green.
Nice.
A little olive green here with a little bit more yellow. Let's see how we feel about that right now. And typically, and it's like you're really supposed to just dive in and just start creating. It's not really about being perfect. It's not really about anyone else except for how you feel in this moment, because it's also an exercise to just create something and finish it. And sometimes starting is probably the hardest thing to do,
Definitely.
you know? So I'm actually really enjoying this color. So
It's
we'll
gorgeous.
stick here and I'm gonna bring in some images here, some of my own. And let them load in. And I like to have a little fun of just like how quirky and how weird and how funny can I get. And so I start to kind of see, I'm looking at everything, trying to figure out how I want to approach this. So this actually right now is speaking to me. And also the whole point is also, again, not to get or be perfect. So it's kind of supposed to mimic like cutting, images out of a magazine or a newspaper. So like those collages, right?
Yeah.
And so just gonna start cutting her out here.
Where was this photo taken? It feels like it was in Arizona. Was it LA?
This was in LA in the
Okay.
lovely, lovely neighborhood of Ladera Heights,
Ooh,
one
very
of my
nice.
favorite places. Um, and it was at this really beautiful, like modern, century modern, like space. And we had just like the day to play.
That's so fun.
And so um it had beautiful lighting, as you can see, inside and out. Like one
Yeah,
side of the wall was just windows. I was like, how can we do this? And this was in collaboration with a lingerie brand,
very
and
cool.
we just had some fun. And so, as you can see, I'm not too zoomed in. I'm not really trying to make things perfect using the pen tool. I'm just trying to get a gist, just like a general cutout of her, um, at least for this one. I really am enjoying her position.
Yeah,
And so we're just going to cut her out. And sometimes a pen tool can be a little finicky if you're not used to it. So this is, I feel like, a really great time to sort of learn how to use a pen tool and not, you know, have to do it too perfect or anything like that. Just have a little fun. And
I feel like,
sometimes, mm-hmm,
sorry. Is the pen tool like the go-to? Like if you need really clean lines and you're gonna cut something out, is the pen tool the best tool?
the pen tool is literally the best tool. I'll
Okay.
show you a little later how perfectly, like, how we can get really detailed with it. Um, or even just looking at this right now, just like, look at that. We
Yeah,
got all the way around and it's doing exactly what we needed to do.
love that. I mainly do graphic design work, and so I'm in Photoshop, for things that I need to do, but I'm never sure if I'm like using the right process or, would a
Right.
professional look at it a different way? So,
Right. And I think that's sort of the hang up. It's like for this at least,
sure.
we're not trying to be perfect. So let's just have a little fun, learn how to use a pen tool, figure out what we can actually do with it. So I've cut her out and just to make sure I like what's going on. Eh, maybe not. Let's go back a step and let's make selection. Let's feather this down. I don't know, I'm feeling real. Hmm. Let's feather this down to
Are you
see how we
right-clicking
come
on
out.
your selection to get that dialog panel?
Yeah, so I'm right
Okay.
clicking to see and make sure, um, to make sure to make it to turn the pen tool into a selection.
Nice.
And so essentially we're trying to cut her out, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna actually go back a couple steps and let's cut her out again, see how we're feeling about it. Kind of like it. Feel like I could have some fun with that.
Super. The pose is great.
Right? So
Yeah.
we're just gonna split the screen here, pop her here, and move on back to our green square that we made earlier and
Oh,
pop her in there.
there
Look at
she
that.
goes.
And this started out to be like a really minimal project too, but the more I started working on them, the more like elaborate they became. Um, so to the old me, this is talking to me. I'm really enjoying this.
This is so fun.
Um, and then sometimes I'll create shapes or shapes to sort of make it a little bit more interesting. And I feel like maybe she should be, let's see, square, green, complementary color, red. So let's do something in the reddish family. Hmm.
You're getting a lot of love in the chat. Everyone's very excited for this stream and excited to see what you have in store for us.
I'm excited to do this. I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to share this for a while, and these are one of my favorite things to do. when I need a little break from photography and just a new perspective. I really enjoy using other mediums as a form of inspiration.
Yeah,
So, I mean, if I can create that inspiration myself, why not?
fair enough.
Okay, so I'm liking her shape, but now I don't think I really enjoy her this white space here. So, what I might do is bring out my favorite tool again and create a shape that I actually enjoy. We're gonna name her here. Um, and I'm just gonna create just a little shape just to get rid of this white a bit and maybe even a little bit of this. Yeah. And all of this is about feeling. It really is just about creating and um, making something that I'm enjoying and something that speaks to me in the moment. So we're going to feather out one, and then we're going to get make sure we're selected on her. Actually, let's just do, I plan to use another one and put a mask on this. Thinking about how I want to execute this. So what I'm thinking, or what I'm thinking through right now is I'm trying to think of the future things that's drawing me. So I have a couple other images of women laughing and women smiling really hard. And is this something that needs to happen now, or is this something that I can apply later? Um, and so I'm actually thinking she'll probably be layered. So doing this right now might be a little early. Let's
Okay.
start sort of drafting it and then perfecting it later. I think that'll be
Sounds
a
like a plan.
better option. Yeah. Um, and I know you mentioned, you work in graphic design.
Mm.
What are some things that I guess parts of your process that you kind of have to do the same sort of
Oh, that's a good
draft it
question.
first and then come back and perfect it later.
Definitely. I mean, so in design, I'm working on like a trifold right now that it's going to be a mailer for somebody, and so it's important to like get all the copy in there first, like, and not just get hung up on like the first page, right? I mean, as much as you're like, I want to make this look great, and then I'll do the rest, like getting all the copy and like everything in there, just to start and show it to the client and that kind of thing
Yeah.
to get the product started and be like, hey, do you want to cut any of this copy? Is there anything you want to add? But
Yeah.
it's hard, yeah, not to get stuck on like the first part of it. So,
Right? Because in my head, it's like, I'm like, oh, I want to do this, 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 this. And I'm
right.
like,
You're like, let me actually get everything else going and then we'll
let
come back.
me let me not put this cart before the horse.
Yes. Okay, we have a question for you from Irvin.
Hmm.
Is there a specific resolution the collage photo should be?
That's a great question. I think I'm gonna say no
Okay,
because I think having that sort of high-low mixture in there is what makes it really fun because
true.
even thinking about a low resolution image here, I might blow it up to accentuate those sort of pixels that are going to come through to where it's not even about the image, it's then about the color and the
Right.
colors that are kind of showing through. So,
I love that.
um, no, it's about creating exactly, you know, I guess maybe pushing beyond, what we're used to and the rules and the should it be high res, should it be perfect, should it be, let's think how
Right.
can we go beyond that and how can we push that?
One thing
If
I
that makes
think,
sense.
no, definitely. One thing I think that's so fun about digital collage too is that you can play with the scale more. I mean, you could, like if you cut out a magazine, like scan it and then like rescale it and print it, but it's kind of fun on digital, right? Like you could take something that was small and now make it huge. I think there's just a lot
Right,
more to play with, which is cool.
right. And I think that that's also what makes this really easy to do.
Yeah.
You're not getting hung up by like, the things. You're really able to just
Create.
dive in.
Yeah.
dive in.
I love this
Oh,
photo. There's so much emotion in this photo.
this is one of my, I love this shoot. They're
Yeah.
such a beautiful couple and they're so cool and they have the coolest kids and
Oh,
they're just a loving family that just, they're just so gorgeous. Um, and really fun to be around.
I love that.
All right, so where are we? We're gonna pop back in here. Okay.
Okay, you have another question in chat.
Mm-hmm.
What is something about what you do that initially surprised you or that you didn't expect?
Ooh. Um, something that, say that again.
Something that you're doing now that like initially surprised you or that you didn't expect. Maybe about your career or maybe like the types of projects you're working on, maybe.
Um, that's a hard question. I don't know what to say.
Chat is, yeah.
Um, what's something that has surprised me? Hmm, what have I been surprised by? I don't know, I guess my resilience.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, like it's been um a journey. And I think just having that resilience and just the perseverance and just
Yeah.
knowing that like I can move beyond these things or these I guess limitations that we set on ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's big.
yeah, I'll say that. And what I'm doing right now, I'm just adding in things that I'm finding interesting,
Cool.
very similar to what you would do, say, if you're collaging.
Yeah.
And I love using this duo screen so that I can see, so I can easily copy paste, and I can see where it's going and how they relate to one another, all the pieces that I'm putting together. Um, and yeah,
That's so smart. I'll like blind copy paste from one screen to the other. So this is a great idea.
right. I mean, sometimes I'll do that, but I'm realizing like
No, it's so smart.
I'm looking for as much efficiency as possible.
Yeah. And you can see, a little bit more of like how it's going to come together instead of just being like, I think I want to bring this over. It's
Right.
smart.
Exactly. And so I'm just right now, I'm finding myself looking for just joy, simple joy.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I keep forgetting to make my path. So we're going to go back and do that. Um, where are we? Let's close the path here. Get back onto the shape. Hit the pen tool. Actually, I want to fix that. I think here I'm going to get a little bit more detailed. I'm going to start over here with the pen tool and just get a little bit more of that shape from her mouth. And always don't make the mistakes I do. Make sure your fill
No
is
fill.
clear. Make sure it's not showing. And
I had a teacher one time watching over my shoulder as I was making a shape like this, and I had the fill on, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "You know what? You're so right."
like, what's going on?
I was
And I
like,
asked
"This is a lot
myself that.
harder."
It's a lot harder than
Yeah.
I thought.
Like,
The
what did
pen
I
tool
do?
can really challenge you. Let me tell you, the pen tool
Yeah.
can make you feel like you don't know what you're doing, and have you questioning your ability to use Photoshop.
But we love you, Pentool. In the long run, we love you.
I love you because you do great things.
Yes.
All right, we got a great mouth cut out there. Pop that in there. Like even, yeah, yeah.
Yes, this is
Okay.
cool.
I'm liking where we're going. All right, what else do we have? I had some images of flowers that I shot. Love
Ooh,
her
I'm excited
eyes.
to come back to these photos.
Mm-hmm. We have a little tulip here that, and sometimes I like to play with different tools. So as you see,
Okay.
I've used the pen tool for a good chunk, for a little bit now. But sometimes it really just calls for a quick selection.
We love
Boom,
the quick select tool.
done. And you see the little
Yes.
um little scissor pop up there? Look at that.
Whoa, that was so
Done.
fast.
Easy. So I usually do that when I know the background is like all the same color and it's gonna read it pretty well.
Right.
Um, and so I'm enjoying what's happening here. So, I might hold on to these for a bit and let's see. Transportation has been something for me as of late. And I started this project over the summertime documenting Virginia, the space in where I grew up and the areas I grew up in. And I've really gotten some beautiful images just of the space that I love and that brings me comfort. And that somehow I've neglected, but started to appreciate it when I came back to it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I really actually enjoy the space and what it offers. Um, okay, I like this. I like what this is doing. So we're just gonna grab this really quick. Make sure we're selected in our right window. Open that up. And so sometimes I'll use the quick tool to just have a little fun and see what it does to edges,
Yeah.
what's possible here. And it
What it
creates like,
sees.
yeah, and it'll create like something really funky and like really interesting. Something I probably couldn't have thought of on my own using the pen tool. Um, and so I'm enjoying what it's doing with the leaves here on the edges. So this might be our little anchor.
Oh, there it
I
goes.
like this.
Right on over.
Yeah, so let me not be too messy, and I'm gonna start naming my files here. Say island.
We have a question from chat. Do you use any AI integration in Photoshop and how has that impacted your workflow?
That's a great question. I have tried, but I think as far as I guess the way that I think chat GP not AI isn't gonna it's not quite there yet in terms of what I'm doing here because
Mm,
this is solely from my brain and how weird it can be. And so I plan to try a little bit and see what it can do, but I haven't tapped in just yet.
fair.
But I do see what it can do and how it makes things so much easier and cuts down in time and makes things efficient.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Jack in chat says, this is so fun. I'm liking the scale differences.
Ooh, thank you. And that's one of the things I try to have fun with too, like um changing and playing with perspective, and trying to just have just a bit of fun because we're not having fun. What are we doing? Really like thinking of like this makes me think of, I don't know, little Mother Nature.
I love it. I love the shape that the island brought into the corner. It really just leads into the piece nicely.
Right? Like it's
Yeah.
doing something fun.
Something good.
All right, let's say rectangle. Two is fine. Give this one.
Naming your
This
layers. You're amazing. You're an icon.
I have to, or else I will spend this whole time clicking through
Right, trying
things
to
trying
find
to
it.
figure out what is what, and where is what. So I have to do this for myself and for others too. I think it comes from my retouching background, like,
Oh,
sharing files and like layered files and like no one
yeah.
knows and coloring it too. Like no one knows what you were thinking. So I have to make it as clear as possible.
Yeah,
Um, and make sure that you can find the things that you need. So it's definitely from that retouching background.
that's cool. Did you do retouching for other photographers or for more in like a retail space?
I did retouching for um like brands. So
Okay,
like in a
yeah,
creative house, like retouching or managing retouching for that. And then a bit of ecom retouching
cool.
for a couple ecom brands in LA.
That's cool.
Let's call her Mother Nature for now. All right. What I'm really enjoying actually, this is standing out to me, is where's Joy? See, I changed her name and now I can't find her. And that's why we name our layers,
Or name
kids.
our layers.
I like the idea of her possibly hanging off the island there. And then I'm also thinking, what if I change um the perspective on the island? What does that look like?
Oh, cool.
Even
Yeah.
bringing it up. But actually, I'm thinking let's skew the thing, and that might be even more cool. Bringing it up, bringing this down, maybe even
Oh,
hitting
yeah.
option and really skewing that just a bit. It's kind of reminding me of like the trees in the swamps and in like the deep south of like South Carolina or something. Those very wispy willow trees.
This is so cool. So if you're just joining us, Nikk Rich is with us and making collages that we're going to transform then into animated GIFs in Photoshop, which I just remembered that we're not just collaging, that this is going to be a GIF. So I'm really excited to see you bring motion into this too.
Mm-hmm.
This is already so exciting.
All right. I like her here, but let's hide her for now and bring her back.
We'll bring her back.
We'll bring her back.
And if you have any questions about the process or what you're seeing, feel free to drop those in the chat. We would love to chat with you.
Yes, please ask questions because I'm very much in my head. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing and how I got there, more than happy to share
What's the
what.
vision here with the tulips? This will be my question.
Yeah, let's see.
Is
The
it a tulip, right?
tulips,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Okay.
tulips, I am feeling very, they're kind of reminding me of berries if we bring it down a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna open this a bit. Try and get this. All right, let's go back to one pager. And I'm thinking, what if they were berries? What if
Fun.
they were a group of like grapes?
I
But
could see it.
let's just give them individuals for now. And let's give them varying sizes
I like
right
this.
now.
It's like a fruit, or you thought it was a flower, which is already exciting, but now it's going to be a fruit.
Yeah. And what I've just did was switch over to auto select for my layers just for a
Yes.
bit of efficiency so I can just quickly move through because I already can feel we're gonna um we are going to make these into ah there it is. We're gonna make these into a bunch of different little things. So we need a ton of them.
Jack says that she also is loving these tulips as the fruit. Are they apples or just like a fruit? Grapes, you said? A tulip fruit?
They're tulip fruits.
Perfect. A new hybrid.
A new hybrid. Yeah, we're just making them in little things, and that'll come into play a little later, when we start animating.
So fun.
All right. And so this is also a really good example of layer naming.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't know what is what. So I'm going to go back to the original flower and slowly I'm going to turn them on and we're just going to rename all of them so I can figure out where they are. And this might be a little tedious, but
It's important,
it's very important
especially for
because,
GIFs, man.
yeah. Because when we start moving things,
Who
you're
knows where
gonna
it's going to
want to
go?
you're gonna want to know which one you're moving and what number you're moving. So,
We had a good question come in from the YouTube chat. What was your entry point into learning Photoshop, and what would be a great place to start for those who aren't photographers or designers and then they want to learn?
Yeah, so um, it's so funny. I might show my age with this, but that's okay. Um, when I was younger, there used to be these tutorials online, like how to make vectors, and it would show you step by step how to make vectors in Illustrator, in Photoshop, just like how to make little things. Because I had a blog that I wanted to create like little icons for, because
Nice.
I was also coding websites and didn't even know I was doing that. So, yeah, I got Photoshop and I started doing these vector creations. Well, I got Illustrator and then I got Photoshop, and I started going doing these tutorials step by step. And um, through learning step by step how to create the vectors, I got familiar with the tools, I got familiar with the process, and then through that, I started to figure out how to retouch and edit my photos through Photoshop, since I was very already knowledgeable of like the tools. And any little question I had or anything, I would just hop onto YouTube and just like really quick trying to see how to use this thing or how to do this thing. Um, and then later on, when I was in school at Savannah College of Art and Design, I met Alan Cooley, and he showed me the process of frequency separation.
Wow.
And from that, that's when I started like really retouching like my beauty portraits and just anything else. So for me, it was really just about being active and being really curious.
Mm,
Curiosity is probably the main driving point of everything that I do. I just want to figure it out and figure out how I can apply the things that I want to it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I would just say get out there and like look up some whatever's on YouTube and figure out what you want to do. And if you already know what you want to do, going to YouTube and trying to figure out how to do that thing.
that's a great answer. I feel like
Yeah.
curiosity is such a motivator. If you want to figure out, how to do something, or I want to make it look this way, leaning into that, I think is so huge.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of where my love for photography came from. Um, I was just curious. I didn't understand. I saw like an ad and I was like, this woman was balancing tea on her head while holding like a makeup palette or something. I was just like, how is this even possible? Like, are
How
they
did she do
doing
that?
this? Yeah, are they doing this in a studio, all of this, or is it all retouching? I was like, her skin's really clear. Like, how did that happen? Like, that's not realistic. So I was like, trying to figure out different ways of um, how to do these things I was curious about. Um, and yeah,
And now I'm
my,
sure you see everything so differently, right? Like you look at the ad and you're like, yeah, that's not realistic. Like, let me break it down. Like, what happened?
it's so hard.
I'm
It's
sure.
so hard to
Yeah.
look at things now. And I'm like, if I'm like watching a movie, I have to like tell myself like just live in the movie's environment and
Like it's
just
not real.
yeah, just whatever they're trying to sell you or show you, like just that's real. Like just hang out for an hour and a half, accept it. There was a time where I was like, that's not real. And like my sisters would be like, can you just
Can
watch the
we just
movie?
enjoy this?
Can we just hang out? So
Yeah, that's funny.
um so right now, I am just thinking about how I want to bring this alive now, because it's starting to develop and I'm starting to see areas in which that I can like animate and have some
Cool.
fun with. So I am this smile, probably gonna definitely gonna animate this smile. It has to be
It has to
animated.
move.
Yeah, definitely the flower fruits. And I'm just changing it to see like how quirky can we go with this smile?
Oh, fun.
What can we do? And sometimes I really like to play with like what would be considered ugly. Let's go in that direction.
Okay.
What would be considered really beautiful? Let's go in that direction. So
Yeah,
always trying to challenge these sort of beauty notions of like what's acceptable and what isn't.
I love that. And bringing those together in one space also like just makes a whole different composition.
Hmm. I'm definitely going to animate Mother
Mother
Nature
Nature.
here. I have to. So I'm also thinking we're going to flip her horizontal. Hmm, like it. And I'm feeling like everything's a little too green now. I love this color in the
Okay.
beginning, but I'm
But now with the
thinking,
island, maybe.
mm-hmm. And I like to keep my backgrounds solid.
Okay.
Gradients and all those things are fun, but I kind of like the sort of like flatness of it. Um, the least realistic we can get, the better. So we have a lot of green here, so I'm gonna look for a complementary color in the red space that I
Nice.
feel that I'm enjoying. This is a bit too much, maybe a bit too. Mm, I want something that feels a bit elevated. Um, maybe something that feels a bit complex. Mm, just want to feel something from it. Really what I'm
I
going
need to
for.
feel something.
I need to feel something. Anything. All right, let's see. Trying to stay away from pastels.
Okay.
We're
We have some
moving into
limitations.
wintertime. Yeah, we have
True.
some. A little bit for
Yeah,
me right now.
that's
Because
good.
it's all based on how I'm feeling.
Right. Ooh, that feels September. Yeah, like the change
Mm-hmm.
of the seasons.
Right?
I
Okay.
like it.
Me too. So we're gonna stick with that. Um, how are we feeling? We're just gonna cycle through. Um, using command and the little dash at the top left. We're
Ooh, yeah, the
just
hotkey.
cycling. Just cycling through, seeing what's possible. We even have flowers here we could play with.
Ooh, in the foreground, maybe. Yeah.
So that could be fun. Some buds.
Ooh,
Um, I think I want to also I want her locks in there. That feels very um, we hold energy in our hair. So I'm interested in what this could be, what it could bring, and what it could actually be. It can turn into, again, make sure your fill's empty.
don't make
Um,
the mistake.
it could be, I don't know, let's see what we can do with it. And I'm just like cutting it out.
Yeah.
Um, there is maybe a bit of method to the chaos.
I say you're keeping close to the shape, but you're not being like too precious with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of this really is too precious.
We're collaging, we're having fun.
We're collaging minus the glue on your hands, and we're just having a bit of fun. And for this, I gotta get in there, y'all.
Gotta zoom in.
I can't, I might need my glasses. All right.
Did you do a lot of collage work as a kid, or is this something that in your adult professional life has just become something for you?
Um, I think definitely in my adult life, I did a lot of coloring, a lot of drawing,
Nice.
a lot of um, reading the magazines that my mom and my aunts had.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, I think this probably came from a lot of vision board making, a lot of
Mm,
manifestation happening, a lot
yeah.
of trying to make sure, trying to secure a bit of a future for myself. Um, yeah. And also trying to get back to that love of just creating.
Mm,
Um, just like effortlessly. I just feel like in collage, for me, I don't have to think too much. Um, and it comes pretty easy. And
Do you
so,
work? Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Do you work on a lot of personal projects, or is this like an outlet for you as a balance?
Personal project.
Yeah.
You can't, I can't solely just work creative thing for myself as well. Like, it kind of quiets the noise a bit, allows me to ask questions during that creative process of making things for myself. So, and how I need to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I use that process of I don't want to have I don't want I try not to do new things or try new things too much when working for others. Um, that just sounds disastrous to me.
I know. I feel like there's some creatives who are so inspired by that of like, oh, I have a new client. Like, let me try this new thing. And I feel like there's so much strength in that and like, I don't know, excitement in that, but it can be really difficult. Yeah. I feel like I've never done this before, but I'm going to try it now for the first time.
Teach me your ways. How do
Right.
you not panic?
Right.
Like,
Couldn't be
I don't
me.
know. It just really couldn't be me. But I do give it up to those who can, because that alone in it, all on its own is a skill. So, um, yeah.
It looks like we may have hit a little bit of a pause in the stream, but we are back now. So we've just been chatting and working on the cutting out some images for some collages, but we should be back and streaming smoothly now.
Yeah. And so this has just been really meditative, really,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and we're almost done coming back to the beginning. And sometimes when it's sort of like a block like this, like of color, I start to kind of create my own shapes sometimes. So I'm not tracing every single lock. I'm just thinking, what shape can we make here and what can we do with it? Um, hmm. Yeah, okay. All right, we're coming around the bend here. And again, not being precious with it, just having a bit of fun. And what I do when I started this, I told myself I wasn't going to use my Wacom. I wasn't going to do anything. I was just going to use my mouse because I got into a mode where I couldn't do anything outside of using my Wacom. And I was like, uh, we have to fix this. Like there has to be a way
This
that
can't be.
this can't be the only way you can work. So I was setting up, or I felt like I was creating like blocks for myself.
Mm,
And so, um, I do this now with my trackpad, with my
wow.
mouse, just to challenge myself a bit, just to get myself outside of that. I can only do it this one way. All
Trackpad is
right.
next level though. I can't do everything on a trackpad.
And not everything, but I just need to know for myself that
That's
I'm
good.
not
Yeah.
stuck to one thing, you
Not
know?
limited. Yeah.
The trackpad is, look, I mean, the tablet is great.
Yeah.
The precision you can get from it is fantastic, but um yeah, I just need to know that if I'm on the go and I need something
Right.
really quick, I don't need to, bring out the tablet
The whole setup.
at the airport with the
Exactly.
desktop and, like, so,
Like, do you mind? Can you scoot over? Actually, I gotta, I
right.
gotta set
Excuse
up.
me. I'm gonna pull out my desktop because I can't work any other way. So mm, just really playing to see what this looks like. Sometimes, you put in a lot of effort into something and it just doesn't make the cut.
But I feel like on the next project, like if it doesn't like work on this one, the next project, you're like, wait, I know just the thing. Like I feel like it always is preparing you for the next thing.
Exactly. Um, and so I'm interested in bringing these back and seeing what this can do for us. And if they could be like placements or cycling through, hitting U, looking for a good old circle shape. And I'm gonna clear out my fill. And we are gonna get that perfect circle by hitting that shift button.
Nice.
and click my circle. We're gonna put it in a holding color of red,
Ooh.
which honestly I don't hate.
I know. I was gonna say I kind of like it.
Kind of like that. I'm just gonna extend my background here, holding one side, but it'll extend all if you just hold down Option and drag one corner.
Nice.
Go back to our circle here. It's kind of reminding me of a childhood show where
Okay.
the sun was the baby.
Wait, I feel like I know the one.
Mm-hmm. What's it called?
Is it Teletubbies?
Yeah, it is. It's Teletubbies.
Iconic.
Mm. All right, Mother Nature. I feel like you need just a hair. Let's see if we like drop a drop shadow or not. Global. Here's my opacity. Where you at,
Chat
girl?
chat is liking the television reference there.
You know,
What
you
did
got to
they
pull
do?
from your references.
Yeah, but what did they even
Um,
do in that show? I just remember them like running around and they had a vacuum. That's all I remember.
you know, that's a really good
Like
question
what
because
happened?
what did they do? I don't know. Your guess is probably as good as mine.
But we did know the
Um,
son was a person or a baby.
a baby, yeah.
Baby son.
Um, and yeah, I don't know what they did. And I
They
didn't
were
realize that
busy.
until this moment. What were they doing? I'm just, being completely transparent. When I'm done, I have to Google that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if anybody wants to look that up before I
And
hop
chat.
off and tell me, like, what were the Teletubbies doing all day? Can make this a little, push her off the background there and see how we like it. Mm, do I like it? Do we want this? It's always an option. So whenever you double click and the layer styles pop up, you get these little, let's call them mini layers underneath. And so once you sort of add one of these, let's just say we hit OK. Let's say right now I'm not feeling it. You could just hit the interested making sense. For the moment, I think I just want to hide them for a bit. And so I'm thinking about what are the other ways I want to animate. So earlier I mentioned I want to animate the mouth here. That's on Joy. It's really small right now. And the flower fruits. I definitely want to animate those.
Okay.
But when I start to think about the animation part, this doesn't have to be all that we see in the animation. This can go away and we can move into a different space. And that will make sense when I start to
Okay.
go forward. Um, so I think I want to bring in Mother Nature a little bit later.
Okay.
So let's get to animating something because that does take a little bit of time.
And so to get your
And
animation toolbar down there though, can you walk us through how to get that? Because that's not normally open.
yeah. So I I'll go to Windows
Hmm.
and timeline right here.
Perfect.
You could turn it off and you can turn it on and boom,
Awesome.
it's right here. So it won't look like this initially, especially if you haven't used it before. It'll have like a little bar here. They'll also create new timeline. You just click on that and yeah, it'll then look like this.
Perfect. Thank you.
So let's get into a bit of animation. And even sometimes when it comes to animation, or when I get to the animating part, I still make changes sometimes to like the overall image. And it's sort of like this back and forth thing just to get to the final product. But generally, this is where we're landing. Um, and so I need to organize just a bit here. We have our rectangle, which is our background. And I'm constantly organizing just so I can keep track of everything.
Smart.
We have our island, which can exist underneath our sun, which is the ellipse and Mother Nature up here. We have Joy. She belongs on top of the island. Flowers and smile mouth for the time being. That's our order. Okay. Um, so as I mentioned before, we're gonna animate the mouth and we're gonna animate the flowers,
Cool.
flower fruits. All right, so we're gonna start off with one square, one layer here. And by default, I'll just put it on 0.5 and we'll change that through it. So the second window here, I'm gonna open up my flowers. We're gonna start with animating the flowers. And we are gonna they're gonna pop up.
Cute. Like it's blooming
Mm-hmm.
or fruiting. I
So,
don't know.
mm, let's say fruiting, kind
I
of,
like that.
sort of. We have our flower here, which is up top. And so if we want the next one to show up, we're gonna hit the little plus sign down here on your timeline, and then we're gonna hit flower two.
Nice.
And then we're gonna do that until all the flowers are existing or have popped up and they are visible. And so we're just adding and then I'll play it for you when they all are up. And we have one and then one last one. Boom. Okay, cool. So we're going to hit the play button here and see what that looks like. But as you see, the first window had all of them visible.
Ah,
So that one needs to be deleted. And now our first one only has one here. But what needs to happen is we need to add one more. Go to this number one, turn off that flower.
okay.
And so what you can do here, because I want to delay this just a hair, is you can either delay it in time. So you could put it up to 1 second. Or you can just hit plus a couple times and it'll
There's a
just delay
hack.
it.
Yeah.
So you can do it either way. And that's the thing about Photoshop, right? Like there are a million ways to do one singular thing. It's
Yeah.
just however one you learn and however you feel comfortable doing it. Okay, so just hitting the play button here or space bar. And they're slowly coming up. And that's cool, but I want it to be a little bit faster. And the
Okay.
delay is absolutely too long. So I'm going to remove these two windows from the beginning. That delay is cool, but now we're going to speed things up a bit. We're going to go to 1 second. Let's just see how I feel.
Oh,
Much better.
fun.
Much better. Faster, more engaging. I like that. The delay is still too long, so we're going to just have one that has a delay and then boom. I like that.
Cute.
And it's
Yeah.
just on a constant loop. So if you're doing this for the first time, down here where it says forever on my screen, this is the loop choice. So you can have it loop or not loop at all. You just play it once and it stops. Or you can do 3 times or you can do forever, which is what I like because
Forever.
yeah, forever is just better. And I really enjoy this. So what I'm going to do is actually add more flowers and have it last a little longer. So I'm just going to hit Command J, maybe about 4 times here. And what are we going to do, class? Name them
Oh, yeah, we are.
because that's what we need. Flower. Copy that. Double tap, paste, enter. All right. One thing to note is if you add new things after you've already made windows, you got to turn them off because they're all going to show
Major.
up.
Yep.
So I'll usually just highlight and just deselect the ones that I added in. And then just to make sure, double check, always double check your work. Great. And now we're just going to do the same thing we did for these first windows, first 9. We're just going to add it again. So we're going to add 4 more. And we have to locate them. One, two, let's delete that. And sometimes what I'll do if I can't find something ultimately, I'll just turn it on, find out where it
Smart.
is, and then move it around.
I feel like
Right?
GIFs, excuse me, GIFs are tricky for that reason. Like you really have to pay attention to what's appearing every single time.
You gotta pay attention because it will mess you up a bit. All right. And then let's turn everything else back on. We were at 9. Great. Lovely. So this is the one I need to be pulling from. I'm going to go to the next one, turn that on. Layer, good to go. I'm going to take off auto select here. I'm going to pull her out, maybe put her down there. Hit plus, turn on my 12. Go to my, find her. She's cool, but let's make her really unique.
Ooh,
We haven't played enough with
the scale, yeah.
yeah. And then this next one, I'm gonna pull her from here. We're just gonna make her just a little bit bigger.
Nice.
Mm, okay. All right, let's hit play on this and see what it's looking like. That feels good.
I love that.
And then I'm gonna delay that just 5 seconds on the end, just so we have some time. Boop. Yeah.
So
Perfect.
good.
Don't forget to save. Don't forget.
Yes, good call.
Command S. Okay. So I like this part of it. And I want to animate the smile like I mentioned earlier. So this might get a little complicated, but we will talk through it. All right, so we're on the smile, and we're going to generally do what we did with the flowers, but we're also going to include a bit of movement,
Okay.
just a little teeter-totter to the side. So we have our flowers turned on. That's fine. And we can do, and this is, so right now I'm questioning, do I want the flowers to continue to keep going as the mouth is going as well? Or
Mm,
do I want them to have their own separate, spotlight, their own
right.
time? Um, and so I think I want to get a little complex. And
Okay, take us there.
I think I want them to all happen at the same time.
I love it. Let's do it.
All right. So that was the last one pops up on 12. 13 is there. And so we animated the flowers, and now we're going to go to the smile. So on frame 2, and make sure auto select is off. Frame 2. Now let's go to frame 3, and we're going to Command J, turn smile off, the first one.
Okay.
And then we're going to make this just a little bit bigger. And as we go through this, I'll talk about, I think this is probably the area where details really matter.
Yeah.
Because the smaller the detail for everything that you're moving or popping up or moving in and out or whatever you're doing, every animation, the smaller the detail or the shorter the distance it moves, say from the left to the right, or as we're working on the mouth, the the how do I say? Um, the I guess the most, how do I say? Like as incremental as you can make the smile get bigger, the animation is more engaging and the
More.
animation is smoother.
Okay, so like the more steps you add, maybe the more
Yeah.
you'll notice it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're gonna make it a little bit bigger. Now we're on 6.
So you're
And
just
we're
going back
just
through and adding to each layer that you or each frame that you already had. You're just adding back now, like, okay, we're gonna add this animation on the same layer.
exactly.
Genius. I love it.
Yep. And I'm keeping track of my layers by, as you see, as we move through to each frame, that layer that I made in the previous frames are popping up and they're all visible. So I turn those off. I copy this one, turn that off, and then I make it bigger. And if we have any questions about that, I am more than happy
Yeah, chat. If you have
to
any
answer.
questions on what you're seeing, if you're taking notes and need a little clarity, let us know.
Mm-hmm. I'm more than happy to answer. Everything makes so much sense in my head, but once it's time to speak about it, it's like, how do I articulate this?
You said, how am I doing this exactly?
How do I, yeah, it makes sense,
No,
but
everything is making sense. You're doing amazing.
I'm like, like I'm an artist, okay? Be nice, treat me nice. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and clean up my frames just a hair and make sure that everything makes sense, right? So this is also where naming comes into play. So frame 1 didn't do anything. Frame 2, which would be this layer here, and turn everything off except for this one, smile mouth 1. And now it's smile mouth 2 that exists. And 3. So I'm just going back, cleaning up, making sure things make sense. Gotta put on smile mouth. Doot, doot. And so here, I've made a little bit of a mistake. So we have 1, then on frame 2, we need to turn on 1, turn that off. Boom. Great. And yeah, like if you're making something go larger and the ones underneath are smaller, like yes, you can leave it on, but I think
Make sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
just to make sure it's clean and nice, I think keeping everything turned off that isn't necessary is the better option.
Yeah.
Okay. We have
You did that
gotten,
flawlessly. Sometimes I'll do GIFs and I'll get too frustrated and I'll just have to start over. I'm like, I can't figure out the layers. Like, I just gotta start over. So this is amazing to see you go back in and fine tune it.
yeah, because I used to do that too, but I was like, there is a way to do this. Like, how can
Totally.
I do this thing?
Yes, yes.
And let's see what this looks like.
Let's
So we're gonna hit
go.
play on it. First, we're gonna save it. Okay. And then we're
Yes.
gonna hit play. Okay, I
So
like what it's
cool.
doing. I think I want to put this on 1 just for right now. Okay, I like that. What I don't like is here on frame 10, my fruit
Oh
flowers
no.
in the mouth.
Little snack.
So so I'm just going to bring her down. She's in for 2 frames. Maybe she doesn't need to exist. Let's take
Goodbye,
that
fruit.
fruit. Bye, fruit. Let's see. Let's open up our flower group here. Go to 9. What I'm going to do is put on my auto select. I'm going to select that one. That's flower 10. Take that off and take her off. And she might need to come off in other ones too, because she's very much there. And we need continuity.
And we said we're going to delete the layers even if they're not there, or turn them off at least.
Boom. So let's do this again. Hit save and play. Okay,
Yes.
cool. So earlier I mentioned that I wanted to sort of have the mouth moving. I'm going to close the flower group. And now that we know what frame goes with what layer, we're going to start to sort of move this mouth from side to side. Mm, 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 mm.
I just
So
want to give you
Frenchie.
a quick little note on time. We have about 20 minutes left, which
Okay,
is crazy.
that's nuts.
Yeah, I know. Time flies, huh?
Like, see, this is what I was talking about earlier. Like it's September,
How did
and
we get here?
how did we get here? That's cool. I think we could do this in 20.
100%.
All right. And we're just gonna teeter-totter her side to side.
Fun.
And she's actually, what I'm gonna do, she's gonna take over this whole frame. So we're gonna make her as big as possible. And we're just turning her left to right. Let's make sure that that's right. Great. And we're just gonna continue that. And so I sort of chose this manual sort of approach. Um, I have this like I want to make sure I'm in charge of everything and I can control all aspects of the process. Um, and so that goes back to bringing it, to making sure I'm able to create without using a mouse and, all those things that we were talking about earlier. All right, so make a couple copies here. 111. Go to our 9. Our 9 needs to be rotated higher to the left. 10. And sometimes I'll just be like, you know what? I want this just to be faster. And it just, I need it to be, I need to get to the next stage a little bit faster. So I will now start to make the smile larger and less frames.
Okay. Just really accelerate that mouth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because we want to get to the next stage. So now that we're moving in to a different frame, this one, I'm actually also going to turn off the flower for this frame. Great. 13. Make a new frame. Turn on that 13. Turn off that 12. Make sure it's getting bigger in size, so that 13 needs to rotate and expand. And that was a big jump. Let's go bigger.
Huge. Yeah.
And you see these flowers and stuff, we're getting into it. So we're going to turn that
Yeah.
off in a bit.
Okay.
And our rotation is incorrect. And I love how blurry and how like this is just turning into like, we're like almost in somebody's mouth. That's kind of weird. And I like it. Let's see, 13, 14. Let's rotate her and let's expand her.
Whoa.
We're going to do one more because we need that. Big. And then we're going to do
Yeah.
a jump. And at this point, all the flowers need to go turned off. And we can turn off all these flowers. Yep, we can turn them off at this point. We're good to go. Let's just see what's happening so far.
Yeah.
Command S.
You're good with that save.
I have to. Too many things have crashed on
Too many
me.
lessons learned.
Too many lessons have been learned.
This
Okay.
looks so fun.
All right, let's see. Let's turn these flowers off. Auto select is helping me find the layers that I need to turn off for this. Great, great. All right, one more.
Let's see it.
I like that. I'm interested in it.
I'm
I
loving
hope you are
this.
too.
Yes, absolutely. Chat, we hope you're loving it. Let us know what you think in the chat.
Yes. Okay, so now next frame. We're gonna do just something really similar. So since we've already done that, it's gonna be pretty quick.
Cool.
I'm gonna hit plus. I'm gonna turn everything off. And 5 second that. 0.5, not 5 seconds. Mother Nature is now going to zoom in.
Yay.
Um, and just for sake of time, we're just gonna plus it.
Nice.
Turn her off here for all the other layers. We're gonna bring her down because after that mouth, that big old mouth, this, or would it be easier or better to come in big? Let's have her come in big and bring her back.
Smart.
Is she also? Yeah, why not? I like this. All right. And then we're just going to make her small, just like all the other ones. So we're going to copy that, turn her on, and bring her down. But I want her to be central.
Nice. Anchor her to like the center of the
You
artboard.
Turn her on. And another quick note, if you're going to do that and have all the multiple layers and want to turn them on, but you don't want to see them show up on all the other frames.
Yeah.
If you turn off the layer you want to copy, hit Command J as many times as you like to copy. When you get to the frame you want, you just turn on the one you want, and it won't apply to all the other layers.
That is a trick. That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to turn her off, Command J. Now I'm going to turn on the one I want. And you see she's not applied to any of the other layers.
Right. Because that's one of like the hardest things I feel about GIFs is that you can get them all in the frames on accident.
Yeah. And Command J. She's there. We're going to bounce her back too, just a bit. We
Why
still
not?
got like 10 minutes, so we can still do it.
You're good.
All right. Make her real small. Turn her on. Command J. Turn that on. Do. Itty bitty. And now she's going to bounce back. And a way to bounce her back without having to redo everything that we just did, Command Save. I'm just gonna copy all the ones that we already did the work on, so you don't have to do that work twice.
Genius.
I'm gonna hold down Option, gonna drag the other side, and let's hit play from here to make sure that that worked. And that is absolutely too slow. Let's do 1 second. All right, hitting play. All right, so now she's out of order. So we gotta fix that. And she needs to go there. Okay, let's try it now. Beautiful. I love that. And sometimes on the last frame, I like to have it sit just a little longer, like I talked about earlier. So I might have her sit at maybe 5 seconds. And I'm gonna do something really fun. We got a little time. Okay, I just thought of something. All right, so we will 1, 2. I'm just gonna copy these 2 last frames, hold Option down, drag over, switch that order there so it makes sense. Then I'm gonna get some hair in there.
I forgot about the hair.
Me too, until I just saw it.
And yeah, look it for the future. It was there.
So she's bouncing back again. Option, copy that. And then we're just gonna bring her hair down. Maybe at that one. I'm gonna delete this last one. And then that hair's just gonna come on down. So we're just gonna incrementally drag it down. and take off my auto select. Make sure my hair is selected. And we're just going to make little incremental movements there. And I like to hold down shift while I do this so that it doesn't move left or right. It just stays
Smart.
on that center easy plane. And I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to start that over because I want her hair to be larger. Got to get those locks the love they need.
Yeah, the moment.
And make sure that they are nice. I'll actually keep that size. Turn the hair on. It's going to be out of frame. Add a frame there. Make sure it's big. Okay. Command save.
This stream is brought to you by Command Safe.
Do you know how many times something has crashed and I wasn't able to get it back?
Definitely. No, I'm so glad that you're doing that. It's such a good workflow to model.
And let's see, come down at
There
every
it
frame.
is.
That feels so much better. And I like these little
Yep.
specks in it too. I feel like it gives it a bit of character.
Definitely. And dimension for sure.
Right. And then let's play this, see how we feel about it. Turn this back to 1 second. All right. Hit and play. Bounce a little bit.
I'm
Yeah,
obsessed.
I like
This was
that.
amazing.
That feels good. And like it literally just I went through this just thinking, what can I do? How can I do it? What's interesting to me? How can I bring that out? You know?
Yeah.
And this process really is about just creating and getting something on paper digitally.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I approach these. And yeah, and sometimes they're thrown away. I'll spend 2 hours on it and then I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, this isn't for the public. This was just for me.
You
Um,
save it away.
yeah, but then there are some that, I really enjoy and want to share, and are successful. So, and it's up to you to figure out, what's successful and what works for you. But yeah.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. I think what's really cool too is that I think sometimes people keep GIFs just to one frame or like one idea, right? Like they would have made like the flowers come out and like that would be it. So I think it's really cool to see you incorporate a bunch of different scenes and add to it. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. And I think, and for me, what works for me is it's a form of inspiration, right? So I'm using
Yeah.
my own work to sort of inspire new ideas for myself. So being able to go back into my own work and change, a perspective of a part of it or something, I think that's what helps me create more photographs and have new ideas, different concepts and things. So
Yeah.
it's started out as a creative process, turned into something else, but foundationally it's sort of like sketching for me.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's continuing to fuel your process and let you even
exactly.
play with what you've already made, which is incredible.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So,
Well, we have about 5 minutes left. Do you want us to walk us through like the overview of your process, or there's something other, or some other things you want to highlight?
I think just really approaching it with nothing, no bounds, no
Mm,
rules, no, like, try to not limit yourself in any shape or form. When I first started, I started um building from the center, and then from sort of I guess making these weird quirky things, I was able to think like, oh, well, maybe it'd be fun if something's coming out from the left, or like I really tried not to hold myself back in any shape or form. Like,
yeah.
this is the space for me to do anything and ask anything and tell any story, and it's just all me. And I think that for me personally, when it comes to photography, even when I'm working on personal work, I can still get caught up in rules. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not supposed to frame it this way, or this shouldn't go here, from all the years and all the things. And so I allow myself to just be free. So whether that's like this or sketching or whatever, I think it's important to have a space where there really are no bounds and
Yeah.
you really don't have to, answer to anything or anyone. It's important to make things for yourself.
Yeah.
Even if people don't see it, I think we also get hung up on like making stuff for the internet to show the world. This came out of grief and it has fueled me in a creative way that I didn't know was possible. And so this has also been a way to sort of channel emotions and thoughts and just internal things as a creative that the doubt and all the things. So yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. When
Hmm.
you find yourself like coming up against like challenges or things that are not challenges, but limitations that you're finding yourself like struggling against, is there like a best practice or something you do to like help get yourself out of that or approach it in a new way?
Um yeah, I mean I think it's literally creating these. Like I have so many. I have
Yeah,
so many of these. Like I have like a hard drive where like most of it, if like not like 80%, is just purely like GIFs or
cool.
ones that I didn't finish. Or sometimes it doesn't always turn into a GIF. It just is um just like a still or like a collage.
Yeah.
Um but um sometimes I just go outside of my medium.
Mm,
I'll go research like architecture. I'll go research sculpture or something else to get me out, but to also bring me back.
right.
So yeah. Did that answer your question?
Definitely. Yeah. No, I think
Okay.
getting sometimes outside of the project to bring back that information or even just like distract yourself a little bit enough, I feel like to like bring yourself clarity that was already there, maybe from the work you've done, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that's honestly just been the best thing for me. And I feel like a lot of other creatives have sort of expressed the same.
Yeah.
So because sometimes you really get hung up on, let's just say, a logo, that you're working on, or something for someone else, and you're just like, you need space,
Right.
you know. So
For all the ideas and all the
yeah,
things.
for all the
Well,
ideas.
this has been such an incredible stream, so, like full of such amazing work, full of such joy and energy. And this has just been such a pleasure. So thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And then up next, if you're watching on Adobe Live, we're going to have a spotlight next with a cartoonist, Adam Reed. So stick around for that interview. It's going to be wonderful. But thank you so much for joining us as always. And yeah, stay around.